AI is no longer optional in commercial real estate. A recent JLL report found that 90% of surveyed firms in the industry plan to ramp up their AI investments over the next 5 years. So the big question for leaders is, do you know what to do with it? I spend a lot of time reading and talking about how AI is transforming commercial real estate and leadership. I'm pulling 3 of the most interesting facts I found in that research for you right now. These 3 stats come from the top 5 reports on AI in CRE that I've compiled. If you're interested in seeing those, I'll send them straight to your inbox. There will be a link below to let me know you want them. Now, the 3 data points. First stat comes from a KPMG report and says that 100% of the surveyed commercial real estate executives said that AI is critical to their competitive advantage. That may seem pretty obvious, just confirming the fact we mentioned before that AI is a non-negotiable investment in the industry. The reports I compiled dig in a little deeper to where this investment is going into things like lease abstraction, tenant experience platforms, automated marketing, investment analysis. So this is already getting implemented, and you can dive into the reports I send if you want to see exactly how. Stat number 2 is that only 41% of commercial real estate firms are reported to be providing mandatory AI training. Now, 100% of CRE executives saying it's critical to competitive advantage, 90% of firms saying they're upping their investment, but less than half of firms actually providing training to their employees about how to use it. That's an issue. We're essentially making a lot of investments in a lot of tools, but if we aren't consistent with training and teaching employees and teams how to leverage it, that's a wasted investment. When I worked in the CRE tech space, before I was in research and brokerage, we used to say, you can invest in a really fancy tech tool, but if you're not using it, it just becomes a very expensive paperweight. So don't do that. Invest in the training. Stat number 3 is that about 70% of CRE executives say that they have a strong AI strategy in place for their companies. But when you go down the ladder, only 33% of middle managers say that they have a strategy in place. So that tells us there's a pretty big disconnect between what our C-suite thinks is happening at the firm and what's actually happening on the ground when it comes to AI and implementation. It means senior leaders may be setting unreasonable expectations, or they're just not putting the proper structures and processes in place to educate and inform teams on the ground about the tools they have and how to use them. What is the point of these 3 stats? AI is clearly rising in importance and investment in the industry, but we have some clear gaps when it comes to using it. While this is a fairly common problem when it comes to new technologies and innovation, it's also one that's really easy to fix. My argument is that those companies in CRE that make small steps to fix it and close the gaps, especially around training, are the ones that can position themselves with a pretty big competitive advantage. So here's what I'm telling forward-thinking leaders in my leadership development programs around AI. Learn the basics. Learn the fundamentals of AI and the keywords and how it works and doesn't. One of the things that I teach leaders in my CRE leadership development programs is that AI literacy is key. You don't need to be an AI expert, but you do need to be AI literate. And I've written a couple articles and published some pieces about what that means. Fundamentally, it means staying curious, experimenting, and investing in the training. So I'll link to my top 5 reports on AI and CRE down below, and a link to the leadership program if you're interested in equipping yourself or your teams with AI literacy. Time to close the gap between AI investment and actually using it.